Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will talk about the book King Paimon, Lord of the Endless Silence, the Lord of the Abyss. It is a grimoire written in verse, and the thematic is King Paimon. I was inspired to write the book. I was reading about King Paimon and who he represents, and then I have learned more about him by writing the book, and of course I always do my research as well, as much as I can. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information, there's almost a feeling like a lot of information is hidden from us. It's just a little glimpse, and so my research has somehow developed in different ways, through meditation, through research of my own intuition, in receiving more information that I needed for the book, for understanding King Paimon. And the feeling was as well that King Paimon has helped me as well to somehow he revealed more about himself, quite a lot, to be honest. I didn't expect that the first time that I encountered him in a vision, in a lucid dream that I had while I was at home playing music. And I know that King Paimon, I knew at that time that he's connected to music. And I knew about him that he's a master of knowledge, and so on and so forth. So almost like the things that I knew developed further on, and I was able to receive other visions from him, and some I have included in the book. The book is a large grimoire, and grimoire is a special type of book. It is a magical book. It deals with philosophical, esoteric or occult knowledge. So it's almost always the feeling now that one is reaching in the unknown, into that darkness of the potential, of the abyss. It's even the title of the book, King Paimon, Lord of the Endless Silence and Lord of the Abyss. So that was my creative way to represent him as well. Almost a feeling like, well, I don't know how much I got right and how much is just fantasy, but yeah, somehow I had to use both, the knowledge I had on him, the visions, my own imagination, my own intuition, my own talent as a writer, to develop the story of King Paimon. And in these recordings I have done a little bit more like other type of meditations that speak about me as well, or me trying to understand or find more things that Paimon can teach us, as I've done for me, as I do for others as well, who is interested in the knowledge that King Paimon has to teach, or has to, even maybe learn. So there's always to say one line can go as further as possible, but the other part has to move on as well. So there's, I want to say, the line has already the trajectory, so it's almost like one can calculate where it will arrive, so there is some type of predisposition of understanding, how one thing can end, or how one thing can develop. And the thematics of King Paimon, I wanted to say King Solomon. Well, King Solomon is the one who wrote the book Ars Goetia, the lesser key of Solomon, where it's like, I read today, actually there are more than one book. There are many other books that he has written for his lifetime, studying this occult knowledge, and he does speak in his book about King Paimon as well. And there's a presentation of him. I don't know how true or accurate it is, but my own understanding of King Paimon is a little bit different. I wanted to somehow change that. I felt like it's not the honest truth, so I wanted to develop a more truthful story about King Paimon. And the way I did it was through meditation and the visions that somehow came to me. I like to think it's from King Paimon, but there's always reality and fantasy. Sometimes it's sometimes they are combined, as in this book as well. So I had almost to distinguish too as well what is real, what's not, what is illusion. Maybe that's another lesson of King Paimon, but somehow I did accept him as my teacher. I did accept him as a master of knowledge, and through the visions that I had, it showed me clearly that it is so. And then in the book I developed the story of King Paimon, and yeah, I always, when I work on my books, I like to leave it open to see where it goes, even if of course I have a certain signal or a certain thematic or a certain feeling how I want the story, but I work freely, so I let it develop now in the book that it has to be. And in some of recordings I speak too about mirror magic or other type of subjects as time and space or time travel. You know, it's almost like the visions that King Paimon showed me made my mind think about these things more than usual. I mean, there are some thematics that I like to think about, and you know, my little tiny mind tries to understand. It's always like, when dealing with subjects like that, one not necessarily knows what the truth is, but the point of the exercise is to still reach for that subject, or still reach for that success or understanding, even if it's not clear if it's true or not, or if it's going to be revealed. No, that's the purpose of the exercise, is to still learn something from it. The book can be found on Amazon internationally if you want to order it. It's called King Paimon, Lord of the Endless Silence, the Lord of the Abyss. And there's always like the feeling like, oh, there are so many subjects or things that I could talk, and I did talk in many of these recordings, and it's almost like at the same time I feel the need of something new, no? And I will choose the subject of music, and you know, what music represents. And you know, there's a reason why music is so much connected with Paimon as well. It sounds, there's always either his voice or some type of music, or sometimes almost like you feel that eternal silence. And King Paimon teaches that silence is never empty. The silence is full with everything, no? And say, well, sometimes King Paimon likes not to distinguish things as humans do, in the meaning, say, well, you know, say left and right, negative, positive. Actually, he teaches that they are one and the same thing, only in two different polarities, but they work perfectly together. So it's almost like they have the same, I would say, script, or the same DNA, you know. So it's almost like brother and sister, no? And say, well, there are some differences, but finally not so many as we humans believe. And his knowledge somehow is like almost like self-created knowledge that he, which I believe is true, but somehow he discovered for himself. No, it's like he's searching for himself as well, the secret of the cosmos, or the, you know, there are different secrets. And say, well, if a magician develops, no, and say, well, there's always another secret, is always another door to be opened, a higher one, of course, no? And higher in King Paimon's idea is not to say, well, the higher door is more important. Sometimes to reach the higher door, one has to go to the lower door, because they're all the same, doesn't matter, no? It's just the entrance point is different, and what one finds there is different. So he is a seeker of knowledge, but of deep cosmic knowledge. He developed as well, no? And say, well, what is his pursuit? What is his goal? My book speaks more about the past of King Paimon, and represents, you know, his history, but it represents too something that is almost like moving towards the future, moving towards eternity, no? That King Paimon uses the time to unravel different things that he wishes for. It's almost like a secret, no? He has his own goal, or his own dominion, or his own power, or his own control over his decisions. And through this recording, somehow I didn't want, once I finished the book, I didn't want it to end. I wanted, my relationship with King Paimon was such a beautiful one, and I wanted to continue to talk about him and somehow understand more from the position he comes, or it's almost say, well, his figure is very enigmatic. It's very, it's like a pursuit of mine through this lifetime to understand who King Paimon is. So, or not necessarily that, somehow I know, who he is, but to receive more knowledge, or to receive more understanding, or some type of help or guidance, or some type of different feelings. No, so it's like he gave me a lot of inspiration while I was writing the book, and I wanted to continue with that feeling now of getting different type of inspirations, and this is what I'm doing with the recordings. In the same time, of course, it's always a pleasure to talk about my book, so others that are interested know about it, and they can buy it if they want, and they can read about. The book is, of course, it's like a piece of the truth. No, it's not to say it's not all, but it is a large book, so I think it's quite interesting for the reader. Even if you're not interested in this subject, it's still a great book. So, it's not only to say, well, it's only for the people who deal with these subjects, or occult knowledge. What means occult? Occult means something that is somehow not the norm, or a little bit hidden. No, it's like hermeticism. No, it's like, well, it's like, it needs some type of new ideas or new understanding. There's always a pursuit of something higher, no, something better as in any subject, and it's part of philosophy. It's a part of there are different currents of philosophy that humans have touched upon. We have this current, we have this current, and Hermeticism or chronology is a specific current, that has existed. Well, I think since humans exist, because humans always try to understand the unknown. It is a very high quality in humans to try to reach upon a mountain that has never been reached, or that's like the pursuit of knowledge in general. So occult knowledge is nothing negative or bad, or say, well, it deals with this and that. No, knowledge is knowledge, has to be respected, and any river of knowledge, or any swamp or water or whatever current it goes, one can touch upon, and one can freely read and be part of, or learn, or understand. For me, it's simply learning. So it's not like I had to say there's a distance between me as a person, as a writer, and the things I'm interested in, the knowledge I acquire. I don't fall necessarily into the creeps of, that means that, or that means that. That means nothing. It's simply that's the way I think it's correct. It's simply the seeking of knowledge. And King Paimon is very much about that. So he has very unique ways to learn, to teach. Sometimes almost say, well, sometimes there's only the silence. Say, well, it seems like nothing, but the silence is a great teacher. That's the number one Paimon uses, is the silence. Why the silence? Because the silence shows us what is deep hidden in us. It's almost to say, well, the night is necessary so the flower can bloom in the morning. That part of the night is very important. You say, well, it rejuvenates, so it gives new life, it gives new understanding, it gives new ideas, it gives new opportunities. And I think silence too is very comfortable. I think in our world there are a lot of things happen, and everyone wants to hear themselves talk, and which is fine, but one has to reflect as well. One has to sit in the silence as well, and I think very few humans like that, or enjoy that, or like to someone say, well, the silence is sometimes a harder teacher, but it is a good teacher, definitely. I believe in that. And that's what Paimon teaches as well, to not be scared of the silence, no? Because it allows that flower that is inside you to bloom, your own knowledge, your own wisdom. That no matter what you read, no matter what you discover, you should always focus on your own wisdom, your own intuition. That's the most important thing. And the music now is like the beautiful part as well, because the music always brings good news. There's always a feeling of celebration. It's a feeling of, well, my soul can dance, not only speak. No, sometimes words are difficult, no, to move in a world where the words are everywhere. There's a lot of words. There's a lot of, speaking this, and one cannot even understand what is real and what's not, because the words show a reality, but it's not always true. No, it's always say, well, it cannot be, because reality always changes. It's always in movement. It's almost like to say it in a strange way, but like a need of the humans to cling on time and cling on something that they feel that's important, no, to give meaning. But not all words give meaning, no. And we learn in silence. That's what I believe. We experience harmony in silence. We experience beauty in silence. Now imagine the time when you were young and you'll be by yourself somewhere. It's like that feeling is very beautiful. Maybe as adults we change it in something like, I have to do this, I have to active, I have to this responsibility. There's almost no time for silence. That's why I think it's a great way to read a book, or to immerse yourself in any pleasant way that you enjoy: walking, nature, book, drinking tea, sitting by yourself, even in a passive way, watching a movie or listening to music. It's still time that you have spent in silence, which means not talking. And it nourishes the soul, it replenishes, as the dark night replenishes the flower for it to bloom in the morning, no? You say, well, best ideas came from silence, or from that inner part of your own world, no? So, if we think about, well, silence, it's almost like something so negative, but if you meditate on it, and you listen to your own soul, what that means, you find the real beauty. And it's just a little bit what I've said. There's even more to be discovered. And I think actually that's why people maybe like to paint, or they like to do like an individual activity, because it brings them to that own silence, which is a beautiful feeling. When I was a child, I will sit a lot in silence, and I actually I didn't want to speak, or I could not, I don't remember, but it took me long until I started to speak. I almost felt like there's no need for the words. The nature and everything I saw occupied my mind, no? It's almost like I had to take it all in, and it was more like an inward feeling, and talking is more like outward. So I, of course, saw the adults talking a lot and doing a lot and so on and so forth, but I always like to keep myself silent in ways, no? And I'm proud of me when I'm in that silence, or that silence brought me a lot of beauty, the time of being myself in nature as a child. And I was quite a silent child, and it's strange, because I think our days is not respected. If a child is more introspective, actually it's a sign of intelligence, because he's building his emotional or her emotional world, and it should not be disrupted to say, make fun of, he's shy, she's shy, she doesn't know to speak, and so on, because it's not true. It is a soul decision, and it's something that the child needs. There's so little respect, to the way the child is always perfect. No one has to interfere in changing the child to conform to the world. And if the child likes silence, he should be left in silence. Of course, not alone, no? There's always to say, the child always needs the sense of home, the sense of love, the sense of the grandmother, or the mother, or the father, no? But when he plays, or when he's by himself, that silence is sacred, no? It's beautiful. And that's the place where he connects with himself or herself. and it creates a more rich emotional life. And because when one is silent for a long time, I had that as a child. I was alone in the meaning by myself, and I will watch even the most tiny ants move, or observe things in very little detail, which I enjoyed. And I was grateful and happy, to say, well, my grandfathers or parents didn't do that necessarily consciously, to say, well, this is like the educational system we're going to work on. It was just natural. And I think in silence stays power as well. And of course, it's always everything has two swords edge. So well, too much silence is not good as well. It's like, well, if a child is really very shy and very too much into silence, he should be helped, of course, slowly, to move into the world with love and patience. So one always has to measure that cup always. Say, well, they always say, well, a part is good, and let's move in this direction a little bit, so things can be balanced. And that's pretty much with knowledge as well, because when one reads a lot and say, well, this is the opinion of this person or this writer and this idea and this, and almost like it takes a little bit away from you, and what I try to create in my books is to say that the knowledge comes to you, and then you are free to interpret it or read as much as you like, So I like to give free hand. Say, well, my story, of course, they have meaning and they have purpose, and it requires to, depending on the person, what type of level of understanding or what type of pursuit they have with the book. It can be read in many ways. It can be read more relaxed and just read, or one can go deeper into the meaning, of course. Say, well, every story has a obvious meaning, and then beyond that can have deeper meanings. In general, they do have a deeper meaning. And I think the story of King Paimon was, for me, to be honest, the feeling that I wanted to write the truth, or a story that represents him better than he was represented until this time in history. And almost like it opened artistically or literally for me to a new door. It was my first grimoire that I've written was King Paimon, and after I did continue to write many other grimoires, and I'm still working on others. It's a genre that I started to love. Was inspired by a book of King Solomon, but my work is literally work. It's written in verse. Which I really like because it gives such a nice cadence. It's such a nice, pleasurable way to read it. It flows like a river, It's really, it speaks very much. It's like all the elements that are around my subject I integrate in the text, so it fits. So there's no missing part. So it, try to make it harmonic and easy for the reader, that you can immerse yourself in that world, and there are no discrepancies that somehow pulls you away from that. So you can really immerse yourself as much as you like into the book, into the verses, into the story. And I didn't expect it to be so long when I wrote it. It was not like, oh, I want to write this huge book, but it came out like that. And sometimes when I write books, almost like it's a dream. It's almost like it feels like, oh, I cannot even remember when I wrote this. You are like in a trance or in a very deep state of concentration, and you work on different elements, and somehow it almost takes you away from this reality. And so, whoa, I wrote this. Oh, so many pages. Oh, how it came to that. You almost like you lose track of time. You lose track of understanding, how it came. So I do believe in this transcendental way to say, well, everything that comes, somehow it comes from God, comes from the source. This inspiration river that one catches, and I put my boat on that river and I traverse it. I float upon, and try to gather as much as information, and work, and then suddenly you are there, and you don't even know how long the river was around because you were so concentrated on the book. It feels a little bit like that, but of course one is very happy once you have reached that goal. And I love the idea of knowledge. I love that something that I have created or written remains for others or for history, you know. And say, well, maybe no one will read. You know, it's always the no part of everything to be created, no? But it did give me pleasure. It did give me knowledge. I'm happy that I wrote the book, and of course happy that if others will read it, and I would be very happy to hear different opinions, or if somebody read it or has it, or, you know, I'm very interested in that aspect as well. And I have written almost 50 books until now. I have published on Amazon. There are different books on different subjects. Almost 7-8 are grimoires, and I'm still working on grimoires. I still want to write other grimoires. And my goal is to write 100 books, but I do hope, I do think I will write all my life, and it can be even more than that. It is not necessarily egocentric goal of mine, not at all. You know, it's I'm not the overconfident type of person in general. I like to keep my shoes on the earth and, you know, do the work when I feel like. You know, it's so, well, as a writer, I have to find the extra time for it, no, because I do have to work and I have to do other things in my world as well. But it's something that I will never give up. And interesting, funny stories, like when I was a child, actually, I had difficulties to write, and my sweet sister, who is a little older than me, has helped me. And I had a good teacher after, and somehow I managed, but I didn't find it easy at all. And that's why it's just an example to say one never knows what the seed of a child carries, no? And say, well, in the beginning, my first 3 years, I didn't really speak a word, and when I spoke was, I had some speech impediment and was a little difficult, and now I speak 5 different languages, and my communication has improved, and so on and so forth. So that's why I always say, when one is with children in general, or has children, or works with children, I do work with children, is that it's they say it's like a word against God to say something bad about the child, because you never know where the seed that grows. Only God knows. And the aspects of not talking or not writing can develop later on in exactly something that one cannot imagine, or being a writer, being a speaker, or anything like that. So, you know, I do believe our souls have different things that we come in the life to improve. That's the point for me of life, is to get new skills or learn something new. It's not only about experiencing life like in a hedonistic way, no. It's about improving your own persona, your own that exists even after this life ends, no. This is just a part, this is just a door. And I even believe in things like if you're very good at something, it means that in another life, in your past life, you practice that, and that's why you're a master at this very fast in this life, because the lifespan is so short that you know, one needs a certain type of time, and somehow we always search new thematics or new subjects that we want to learn and improve. There's always a mission, there's always a goal. We say, well, what I'm going to do with my life, no? What type of work I want to do, where I want to put my service, because the service we put is for God. So God helps us and gives us this mission and wants us to be able to complete the work that we have done. No, it's like every soul has different desires. No, that in the end they are for the purpose of helping others as well. So it's not a selfish thing. We say, well, I'm a writer, but it is for the purpose to improve knowledge, or to bring something from the past that, you know, there's different reasons, but it's for the benefit of others as well, not only of mine. It's not and for me to learn to do it, for me, is the idea to be able to master my skill, no. And The same with painting. For example, I started to paint, and then very fast I felt it was very natural to me. So I do believe I had a life in the past where I enjoyed this. Or say, well, maybe not, but God gave me this talent in this life, no? It's something that I wanted to obtain with ease. In these recordings, always I like to leave it open. So sometimes I speak about more personal stuff or the book. It doesn't matter. It's just my way of sharing. But it does have a meaning to King Paimon as well, you know, his teachings as well. And so, well, when I speak about me, other people think I like to speak about me, but it's not true. I actually don't like to speak about me, but I try to make it to a point to say it's for others to learn. It's not about me. I like to put myself in the background, to be honest. But there's always interest of, they say, well, I should not be scared to share of mine, no? Because it can resonate with somebody else. It's like an act of love on my side as well. So others can learn from me, no? It's like, I had this experience in past where I will speak about me or I will share, and then I will be almost envied, or somebody will say something like, you always put yourself in highlight, or you always, you know, they will not like me to talk about me. And there are many people who never ask something about me, so there's not a lot of interest necessarily, no? But it has nothing to do with me. So I do like to communicate when I see that there is an open window or a resonance. At the same time, I enjoy my silence. I don't need the approval of others, to be honest. So I carry this since I'm a child. I have my own morals, my own goals, my own lane. And if something doesn't work, I move on. No, there's no need to resonate with others that don't want to resonate with you. It's impossible, no? So that's what I was saying at the beginning of the exercise. One lane can be met with the other line, no? They say, well, if my line, my trajectory, imagine a line, no? It goes forward, and say, well, this is my idea and this is my goal where I want to reach. And it is important, no, to keep on that. And if you want to interact with other people, it's like there has to be a opening on that side as well. One cannot force connections, no, one cannot force commitments, one cannot force somebody to like you. It's not possible, no? And if you try, it puts you in a minus position, or it takes away from you. So the trajectory, the line is very important. The same when I write the book, no? So, well, I know that I have to carry it to the end, so there is the red line that I'm following. There is the red string, no? I say, well, I work, and then I know there's the end point where it's going to be ready. That's the point that motivates me. And some books take longer to write, some shorter, you know. It's always almost, if you think yourself as a writer, you know, where you're always writing in your head. So it's almost like there is no time stamp on that. You're always searching for new subjects or new understanding. Sometimes it comes little, sometimes it comes in bigger parts. Almost like it's important to leave myself open as well. No? I say, well, I do have other things in my life which I'm happy. I think every writer should not focus only on writing. I think that's a mistake, because you need the other experience as well. You need, you know, you have other parts of you that you want to experience, and the writing is just extra something, no? It's not necessarily the main thing. And I'm able to do that, which I'm thankful. And even in the time where I say, well, I'm not actively working on a book, writing it, but I'm searching for the subject, I'm working on it, I'm going towards that goal. It is on my line, it is on my trajectory that I was talking about, no? So it's just a question of time. And some things come unexpected as well, as the book of King Paimon. No? It's always like a decision, well, let me write the grimoire, and then it's almost like you go on a trip that you don't really know how it's going to be, but I always keep to say, well, if I do my work right and I focus on it and I try to make it as good as possible, no, a good result will come. And somehow in this recording, some of them, they always bring me back a little into the past, into my memories, which I really like. I do go back into my memories. You know, I like to think about things from the past, especially when I was a child, and the beautiful memories that I had. It's almost like there are still secrets to be revealed there to me. It's almost like a pleasure to go with the eyes that I have as an adult, and see myself as a child, and you know how proud I am of me, the way I saw the world, and how trustworthy and how magical I saw everything, and how much I enjoyed. I have like a distinguished memory in my head. I grew up in a village in Transylvania, and my parents were in the city, and it was a little difficult time. So my mother had my sister, and she was living in the city in the apartment, and my father had to go in another city for study. And when my mom had me, my grandmother said, well, leave her first years with me, and you know, I will take care of her, which my mom did. She trusted her with me. And I think it was a great decision, because, you know, it's all in God's plan, because I had many beautiful years where I had a lot of quiet and peace. It was a very peaceful little village, and I felt very at home, and I spent many all days outside in nature, and my grandma will cook and care for me. I felt very loved, very protected. There was no pollution there was no trash, there was everything, you know, just nature, and we had a lot of animals, and my grandfather was hunter, and sometimes he would hunt, and we had cows, we had pigs, we had horses, we had chickens, we had cats, we had dogs. We had really like and the village is very beautiful. It's really surrounded by nature, by hills, by wood, not high hills, but just a little bit. No, it was just perfect. And the valley is called the Beautiful Valley, Frumoasa. Frumoasa in Romanian means beautiful. And yeah, there I grew up the first years, and I would play a lot by myself, the nature, in the water. You know, I learned I didn't have other children to play with. Somehow my grandma always protected me from other children, didn't let me with others too much. So I was very much counting on her, and she was taking care of me. So I found a lot of moments, me connecting with nature, with animals, or by myself, you know, like going around the house, or around the area of the house. Outside was a little river. You know, it was just so peaceful and so beautiful. And then later I had to go to kindergarten, the city, and school, which was a little difficult for me. I didn't really like it, because I was used to that freedom in the countryside and everything so harmonious and so peaceful, no? But of course it was necessary for me to go to school. I could not get out of that. And I needed some help in the beginning. As I've said, my sister will help me to learn to write. She was a little older than me. My sister was like a second mother to me. She's very motherly. And even if she was just 2 years older than me, she will pick me up from kindergarten. It was close to my home. She would take care of me. It was a great feeling to have an older sister, no? To not be alone. And it was always a great feeling to be the little sister who has a little less responsibility. And after that part of my life, I had to move a lot. We moved in a different city because of my father's work. My father worked in the military, and you know, it's a part of his job that he had to choose another place, which he did. Was a different city. And there we lived together in an apartment, my father, me, my mom, and my sister. And we will visit every summer my grandparents in the same area where they are both. And I have interesting stories from both sides. I have really great grandparents, very strong, beautiful personalities, very strong and beautiful people, very different. You know, my one grandfather was very fiery and loud and full of life and passion, and my other grandfather was very calm and calculated and very serene. And it was great, no, that I had to learn from both different things, and they did taught me different things, which I'm very grateful. It's always like the feeling I wished I would spend even more time with them. But you know, I was a child, and in Romania in general, the adults, they always say, children should go to children. You don't have so much time with them, especially when you're alone, because I think when you are alone with one person, they teach you something, they show you something only for your ears. No one should be allowed. Sometimes it can be even a feeling or a silence, but remember, if you are with one person alone, they want to share things with you. That's the purpose. They want to teach you something, no? So I see them, well, in that time not, because I was a child, but now when I look back, I see them as my teachers. They taught me things as well, and I wish they would have told me even more, because I still think, well, they do have secrets or things they never shared, no? It's like people in general keep a lot of secrets tied to their heart. They don't really show what's inside, and I do have the luck that I don't know, maybe it's a quality of mine that people do feel comfortable to share with me things, which they did a little bit more than with the others, but I still know there are many secrets or hidden things that they will never share or cannot or don't want or too ashamed or just was not the time for it, no? But I learned to see past that. Of course, as I said, I have learned to even listen to the silence. Things that are not spoken are actually very powerful and very beautiful, and in that lies a lot of love. In silence lies a lot of love as well, no? And you know, everything was very specific about my grandparents, the house they lived, the life they lived, how hard they worked. It was very hard working life. It was not easy, and I'm so proud of them, the way they lived their life, and I think they enjoyed that freedom as well, close to nature, close to animals. You know, it was very like not easy life from the point of work, but easy life for the mind, because they were a little secluded, no, in that village. It's like more protected. I think that's why I like that place, because when you're there, first there's no pollution, the air is clean, it's very quiet, time stops, no? There's a you know, every place has a different quality, and I really love to go there. I always dream about that place. Sometimes even now I think, I wish I would go there and live there. But I live somewhere else. I live in another country. I live in the city. But that feeling, that's why I like to revisit my memories. I like to go back. And even now when I'm talking, I see them. I see the images, the things they taught me. And it's a great exercise for you too as well, if you want to go back, you know, to people that, especially from the family, because the family is very important, why God gave us exactly these people, to teach us something very essential and valuable for our future, for our path, for our deeper understanding. If one knows to say, well, the soul speaks a different language than the words, but if you're able to translate that, you understand the quality and the meaning of life as well, of the deep love, of the deep compassion, of the deep yearning to be understood from the other person as well, no? So there's the generation to say, well, my grandfather lived a different life, and he could have taught me so much, no? At the same time, the reason why they don't do it, because it's not necessarily for my path, because it was their life. So it's a form of love and respect as well. But they did, you know, I think the most beautiful thing is to let the freedom decide, to let God decide, no? To not interfere too much. That's a gift as well. And true love, no, it functions on different elements. True love is not the one who will scream on top of the lungs, I love you. True love is a time silent, a time kept away, at times, you know, say, well, it's like the feeling is felt, you know, but the words are missing. Or when the words are missing, the feelings can be understood. So it is nothing lost. It works perfectly combined, both on each side. That's what I want to say. So if you speak with one person, say, well, why didn't you tell me more? You say, well, there's always more, no? It's like, what's the point of it? Of course, it's almost like, you know, there's is understandable. There is always a little sorry, you know. It's like I carry that too. It's like, why didn't taught me more? Why didn't I have more time with them? Why? But the beautiful thing that I was able to acknowledge their mastery, because the mastery should not be misunderstood. If a person can be born by grace of God, even not to go to school, they will teach you things that no one can teach you. They can be a great master. Don't be fooled by by illusions to say the one who succeeds and has money knows. No. It's the other way around. So the silence, the humble one, the one maybe who leads a very simple life, has a lot of knowledge because he's a master. His soul we speak about the soul, no? So I did acknowledge that the people in my life, my grandparents, at least my two grandparents, because they passed away, and I revisited their memories because I missed them. And even if I didn't have a lot of time, I had almost none time only with them alone. But in that time alone, they did teach me something, and I really liked it, you know. And in that moment it happened. I was little, but I did acknowledge, I did want to learn. And one learns too from that space, from the distance, no? So, well, there's a part where they cannot get too close, you know, because of course they are men and their grandfathers, and I'm a child, I'm a girl, no? There's a certain respect that comes with that, and of them knowing that I will find my own answers, I will have my own place, no, or things to discover. Yeah, and then from my grandmothers, they are both called Aurelia. Interestingly, in Romania we have a lot of Latin names. Aurelia is a Latin name, comes from Aurelius. It's the feminine form of Aurelia. In Romanian, all words that finish with A is feminine, especially names, no? My name Carmen is a difference. That's why my father said like the word name Carmen, because it doesn't finish like the others in A, no? And Carmen means in Greek song, and my other name is Giulia, which is Latin from Julius. Anyway, my grandmothers both called her Aurelia, and they pretty much had the same life, no? It's very the same village almost, just one village between them. And yeah, they're still alive. They're old age, and just great persons to talk about. I have somehow similarities with one grandma more, like I recognize myself in her more, but the other grandma raised me, and she is just a great mother, great, just the perfect grandmother, the perfect mother, you know. I think it's like when she was younger, she didn't have so much time to take care of her own children because she had a lot of work, and she had 3 children with really hard times, and somehow she wanted to do it better again, and she took better care of her grandchildren. She helped her daughters to say, give me the grandchildren, and they can always come here and I will take care of them. She really loved us to be around, no? I feel a lot of love for her. And she taught me how to be a good girl. I always listened to her. She never fought with me. She never treated me bad, nothing at all. It's something else. She always asked me and confronted me and told me not to do it. But she always says, oh, you are the perfect child, that I was never sick. And I always listened to her. For example, you know, she had a lot of work to do, not only household, but outside, a lot of responsibilities. And then she had to take care of me. And of course she had to, you know, a big responsibility because my parents entrusted her with me. And that's why she never left me out of her eyes, no? When she will work outside, she will say to me to sit by the window in the house in bed and watch her from outside how she works. And I will sit by the window, and I always listen to her word. I have tremendous love for her. She's like I've said, didn't go to school because her parents had 4 daughters, and they were really very poor. And my grand-grandfather, her father, went to war. And in Romania, you know, to have 4 girls, you have to marry them, you have to give them something, and so on. So she told me stories, you know, how poor they were. And because she was very hardworking, they decided to not send her to school. She's better off taking care of the animals and her responsibility around the house, which I think she was happy with, because she's very much all about the house. She loves to cook, she loves to clean, to go outside, her garden, her animals, and that's what she did all her life. And she lives, as I said, in this beautiful village. When one reaches that village, it's just like an entrance in another world. It's almost magical, and it's really we have the house there. It's so beautiful. I will always keep that house, always keep those memories. And she's very religious woman, both of my grandmothers, and they taught me since a child to fear God, to pray. I always go to church. I have very beautiful memories, and they still go to church even this old age, which is amazing. You say, well, my legs don't carry me far, but she still reaches to go until the church. And I don't know, both of them, I think they are just so strong and so resilient and so powerful, and they sacrifice so much for the family, and good women. And they taught me a lot of values, no? So, well, the best way to teach someone is to do it by yourself. So just through their life, there's so much meaning behind for me, so much understanding, no? So, well, the sacrifice of my grandmother, so my mother has it a little bit better, made it my sacrifice of my mother to have it for me better, no? It's like I'm part of their lineage, I'm part of their striving for better, striving for more, working towards more. So I've learned quite from little age what work means, but I always saw it as something positive. I didn't see it negative, you know. We would go and help, and I did all the things in the countryside, from you know, making the grass for the cows or sheep, or everything I experienced, putting out the potatoes, the plums, the gardens, everything what my grandmother will ask. She will give us, you know, little, I mean, we will help when they go to work, but around the house she will give me little responsibilities, like feed the ducks, feed the chickens, you know. But I have been witness of pigs being born, sheep being born. I love that we had a horse. It was really beautiful to go with the horse with my grandfather. We will go in the woods. We will look for mushrooms. It was really absolute idyllic childhood. And we spent all summers there. Me and my sister, we were almost all the time there. 2-3 months in summer, and then Christmas and Easter. My father will always, my father too, always valued family, and always pushed us as a children, even if sometimes we didn't really want to go there for Easter and go church for Easter. My father took those values very, very strict and very important. And you know, sometimes I say, well, with my grandmother I experienced a lot of freedom, and I have learned a lot from them. A lot of beautiful things, absolutely. And after, when I moved to the city, I have learned other things from my father, from my mother. You know, I understood that things are different. I have to go to school, I have to learn. I didn't think of me much. I just remember being very nervous and say, well, you know, it was a new path for me. And maybe the first year was difficult, and in the second year I was lucky. We moved in another city, and I had a very good teacher who will never punish or speak bad. She will always encourage me, or she give me tasks to do, and I really enjoyed, like, I took my work seriously. And yeah, and then my mother inscribed me in Romanian in the city, in a high school, which was on the philology side, with a lot of English, which I'm very happy. My father didn't want. He got upset on her, like, why did you inscribe her there? You didn't ask me. But my mom knew what she's doing. She always took decisions, and it was 4 years there. I was 4 years. And then I went to another high school where my sister was. It was economic high school. which was funny because I'm not good in mathematics, and there I had to give a mathematics exam and I barely passed. Somehow I got in. But in in Romania, the classes have A, B, C, which is the best. A is best, the highest notes. And I entered A, B, C, D, F in F class. My grade was not so good, but was fun, was a little bit more fun. I think the classes which is A or B or C, they are more like serious and studying, and we are a little bit more crazy, and we had a lot of fun. We didn't take school so serious. And then I inscribed myself at university, art university, which was, I don't know how it came to me somehow, because I didn't study art. And my father supported me and said, okay, if it is what you want. And he told me some things, and I worked with a teacher, and I had to learn to draw and to paint, which I said, it was a quality I already had somehow inside me, but I needed to repractice. And then I entered there at university, but I was a little disappointed because almost like the building didn't have windows. It was like an old building, and it was cold, and they put us to draw I don't know what, and I just didn't like it. And then I decided to come to Vienna to study something else, and I wanted to learn German, which I did, and I studied in Vienna. And and then I studied for many years, and I took a lot of time to think what I would like to do in this life, what profession I want to do. Somehow I just didn't get it. I was like, what should I do? And then I remember one woman teacher was telling me, don't worry. She gave me good advice. She said it was the same for me, because humans that have different abilities, sometimes they don't know what to choose, no? And said, you make this, that, and at one point everything will come together. At one point everything will make sense, which I did, no? Just continue work on yourself, continue to study, continue, and you will have the answer. And then, because my father was a professor, a teacher, I said, well, I want to work this profession as well. I have met a few people as others who have this profession. I talked with them, and I saw the benefits of it. Even from the holidays time, because teachers have more holidays in Austria now. We have more free than normal jobs, which was important to me because my family is not here, so I could visit, I could have the time to go back to Romania. And during my studies, of course, I had a second study, a master in pedagogy. As I've said, I decided to be a teacher, to work with children. And I think it was a great study. I did learn better German. I did learn many other things. But my quest was always to develop my own type of learning, to develop my own understanding. So, well, if people take everything as it is, I take it always with a grain of salt. I'm very Romanian, so I say, well, yeah, it was a great study, but the reality of work was quite different. It was like the study that I made was very idealistic, and the reality of the world is far away from that. So there was like a little crash of disappointment. But I did discover different abilities of mine, or different interests while I was studying. And when I'm a student, I always see myself as a student. I actually see myself little, like I don't know much, and I'm shy to ask a question, and I'm not, I know. I'm always like, I don't know nothing, and I feel so stupid, and oh my God, what I'm doing here. I had to give so many exams. I was always so nervous. It was not easy at all, because, we do carry the child we have inside with us, and I am actually a very private, very calm, serene, hidden type of girl. That was my experience as a child. And then, it's strange to sit in front of people and talk and present. And here in Vienna was all about that I have to talk, I have to give presentations. It's like, I prefer writing exam, or I prefer a direct talk with one person, but I don't like this auditorium where I speak in front of others. But I have learned to conquer that as well. but during the studies, it really gave me nightmares, to be honest. I was so nervous. And then I noticed others are nervous too, it's not easy, but I think it comes from a place of wanting to try the best. So that fear made me prepare very well, and I actually always had very good grades. I finished both my studies with Auszeichnung in German, with extraordinary. Even if during the study I always felt I don't know nothing, I'm the last in the class, but the reality was actually, it was good. It just took me time to understand. That's another point of reality and illusion, what is real and what we believe is real. And I was happy when I finished the study. And then, the part of working, I did start to work a little bit later in my life. And I had different responsibility. I had my child, I have my daughter. So I was taking care of her. She was my main focus, of course. And then once I finished my study, I started to work as a teacher. And beside that, at home, I like to stay at home. Most of the time I'm at home if I'm not at work. And I started, with my daughter as well. Always, I am creative since a child. I always paint, always draw. When I was a child, I didn't have the tools. We didn't have money, to be honest, or there were not products like today's, to pens, or I remember I would save money to go and buy a little pen called from Herlitz. It was a shop which they had good stuff. Even now, financially, I don't afford always to buy paper or materials the way I would like to be able to paint. But I did paint. I did find ways to buy paper, and I have many paintings at home. I paint with aquarelle, so watercolor paintings where I have nature and I have flowers, and it's just my own reality. They're so beautiful. They bring a lot of harmony. At the same time, I have abstract, but they're all Landschaft in German, so landscapes or flowers, or so it's not figurative, no. But they are very magical. They're very beautiful, my paintings. And I still want to paint in the future more. And then writing came a little bit later. And to be honest, I don't even remember how necessarily that I said I want to write books. Well, I started with the idea of automatic writing, and my mother was a dactylograph when she was, her profession is that. And I knew she was able to write very fast at the typing machine, and I got myself a typewriter because I always wanted to have, and somehow that inspired me to say, I want to be like these writers, and let me see what typewriter, I went into choosing the right typewriter, and then I learned to write on it, and of course it takes time and it's not easy. And then I started to write like little poetry, like automatic writing. Automatic writing is like you just write and you don't delete by your conscious mind to say it's not good. You just, whatever comes to mind, you write. It's just the right feeling you want to, and then you create it in a poem, a short one, a longer one. And because I created more of them, I met a friend who has already published books and helped me how to create from those poems my first book, which is called Heart Song, Poems on Love and Magic. And they're like little, it's very sweet book that speaks about love. And I worked actually 1 year on that. It felt quite important, even if, it's poetry, so it's almost like childlike imagination, but still a very beautiful book. And then from that book came others, and then others and others. So there's always a road to, say, the book of King Paimon, if I go back to it. And it was funny because once I showed my father the book, and he said, you're not Dostoevsky, why did you write such a long book? Because like, who will read 700 pages? So I did. So he was just trying to give me advice, and say, well, you have to write maybe different type of books. So why you don't write children books? Why you don't? And so, well, this is what came now, or maybe in future I will. It's like I didn't dismiss his judgment. I always trust his judgment. And I did write different books. I did write different genres. I always try to expand a little bit. I don't want to create the same thing. But most of my books come from different dreams of mine, or visions, or even from other people, no? It's like the inspiration is always, one doesn't know from where it comes. There's always a point where, as I said, the exercise with my line, no? It goes straight, but there are things that come towards me, It's like when it meets my line, I'm able to say yes, I'm able to attract that idea, that purpose or goal or what I have, no? And then I materialize it, I create it. And that's the beautiful thing in a book, is that once it's made, it can be repeated, no? It's done, it can be sold, it can be, it's almost like always there. And I like that idea about books in general. I do love books. And for last, I have a funny story. My father, when I was more little, he would say to me, "You don't read." And when I was a child, I read all the books I could find, and why you don't read? And I listened and I listened. I was like, oh my God, I disappoint my father. It's true, I don't read. And then he had a little bibliothèque, a little library, a little shelf with some books. And I took one which was far too heavy for me. And I was like pretending to read. Like, look, Papa, I'm reading. But it was like, he started to laugh, Because the thing is that if the child doesn't know, he cannot do, no? That's why it's important to buy books for children, read with them, bring them into this world, no? Of stories, of fantasies. And then they can decide if they want or not to continue. It's their own free will. As I've said, in life, sometimes say, well, I did read a little bit when I was a child, and long time not, because I had other things to do, no? That are important as well. Or I did read at university, but it was for my study. And even now, if I'm writing so many books, I still don't have the peace and quiet to be able to really read books. I'm still waiting for time in my life where, I don't know, I have holiday modus and vacation, or just to have the right set mind to be able to enjoy a book, because I was focused on writing, no? And I think books are a wonderful thing. They do carry a lot of meaning in general. And my grandmother cannot read, and when I was a child, I tried to teach her, look, my grandma, it's very easy, just A like this, and this is a form, and this is that, and she will just laugh. She said she cannot understand it. You see, so it's like her understanding, almost to say, well, she can read a little bit, no, but it was not part of her goal or her life. Doesn't mean that she's not intelligent. Not at all. She is very intelligent. But maybe it's a part that she felt ashamed, no? It's like, well, I didn't learn that as a child. And I think it's a great pleasure always, no, to start a new, well, people call it hobby, but it's more than that, no? If you feel like a calling or a joy of a pleasure in doing anything, it can be actually really anything, from working with wood, carving, gardening, forming something with your hands, with your mind, with your being. It's the same thing, actually. You're creating something, you're taking care of something, you're make something more beautiful, no? It's the same with the book too as well. You create something that you want it to be beautiful, that one can enjoy, that one can read easily, that one can learn from. Every book has more meanings, no, or more to the purpose of the book than just simple reading. That's what I think. Thank you so much for listening. I will continue another time with other ideas or introspection or meditation. Comes to King Paimon as well. As I've said, it is part of my biography that sometimes comes through, but it has a meaning too of the lesson that King Paimon wants to learn or to teach, no? And the most important thing that is of use, that's of interest, that can help, that can give something, no, to the listener. And I hope it does. Until next time, be blessed. Bye.